A newly built house sells for $665,298, but the builder did not spend $665,298 physically constructing it. In one major survey of home builders, the amount classified as direct construction was $428,215. That leaves $237,083 outside the physical construction bill. So where did almost $250,000 go? It did not simply disappear, and it did not all become profit. It was divided among the finished lot, financing, overhead, marketing, sales commission, and pre-tax builder profit. When you buy a new house, you are not paying only for the visible building. You are paying for an entire system that puts that building on a prepared piece of land into your hands. This is the map of that system. The numbers come from the National Association of Home Builders 2024 Construction Cost Survey. Questionnaires were sent to 4,000 builders, and the final analysis used 41 responses after the data was reviewed for outliers. That is an important limitation. This is not a nationally representative price for every new American home. The surveyed homes were larger and more expensive than the broader market, and costs can change dramatically with location, land, labor, materials, design, and the individual builder. So this is not a quote for one specific house. It is a detailed cost map. And the first part of that map is the house itself. Direct construction represented 64.4% of the final sales price in the survey. But construction does not mean only lumber, concrete, and workers using power tools. The survey includes the builder's direct labor, subcontractors, and materials, divided across the major stages of the build. Money starts moving before the walls even exist. Site work includes items such as permits, impact fees, water and sewer connections, inspections, architecture, and engineering. It represented 7.6% of the construction budget. The foundation represented 10.5%. Framing, including the roof structure and related components, represented 16.6%. Exterior finishes, including walls, roofing, windows, and doors, added another 13.4%. At this point, the project may finally look like a house. But some of its most expensive parts are still missing. Those first 4 stages already account for almost half of the construction budget. Yet the home still has no finished interior and none of the hidden systems that make it comfortable, safe, and usable. The shell is a milestone, not the financial finish line. Plumbing, electrical work, and heating, ventilation and air conditioning are installed before most of them disappear behind finished walls. Together with the other rough-ins in the category, these major systems represented 19.2% of construction cost. In the survey, plumbing, electrical, and heating and cooling each landed at roughly $27,000. These systems require skilled labor, careful coordination, and inspections. Yet once the home is finished, the buyer barely sees most of what that money created. That creates a common illusion. People can point to visible materials and imagine that they are seeing most of the cost. But a completed home also contains networks of work hidden under floors, behind walls, and above ceilings. Their value does not disappear when they become invisible. Then comes the first major surprise inside the construction bill. The largest construction stage was not the foundation. It was not framing. It was interior finishes. Interior finishes represented 24.1% of construction cost, more than $103,000 in the surveyed sample. That category includes insulation, drywall, interior doors and trim, painting, lighting, cabinets, countertops, appliances, flooring, plumbing fixtures, and fireplaces. Cabinets and countertops alone averaged just over $19,000. Flooring averaged more than $15,000. Drywall was almost $14,000. Those are not universal prices. A basic kitchen and a custom kitchen can exist in completely different financial worlds, but the pattern is revealing. A large part of the construction budget arrives after the structure is already standing. Landscaping, the driveway, outdoor structures, cleanup, and other final steps complete the build. Add the construction stages together and you reach $428,215. But now the story changes because you still do not own the place where the house is sitting. The second largest share of the final price was the finished lot. It averaged $91,057, or 13.7% of the sales price. The survey describes this as finished lot cost, including its financing cost. And a finished lot is not simply a patch of dirt. Before a home can be delivered, the land may need roads, drainage, utility access, grading, and other development work. The exact process depends on the location and the project. Land is also one of the least portable numbers in the entire calculation. The same house design can stand on relatively inexpensive land in one market and on an extremely valuable lot in another. That is why a construction estimate can look surprisingly low beside a completed home's sale price. One number may describe the structure. The other includes the structure, a prepared location, and the business that delivered both. The finished lot alone explains more than $91,000 of the gap in this example. Before discussing profit, nearly 14 cents of every sales price dollar has already gone to the prepared place beneath the house. After construction and the lot, the remaining categories look smaller. Together, however, they still represent a significant part of the price. Overhead and general expenses average $38,248, or 5.7%. Overhead does not correspond to one visible wall, window, or appliance. It supports the business that organizes and delivers the project. The survey does not break this category into smaller parts, so we should not invent a more detailed explanation than the source provides. Sales commission averaged $18,955, or 2.8%. Financing cost, separate from the financing included in the finished lot category, averaged $10,220, or 1.5%. Marketing averaged $5,633, or 0.8%. Using the published percentages, financing, overhead, marketing, and commission together represented 10.8% of the final price. The dollar figures and displayed percentages do not always combine perfectly because the source reports rounded averages. The important relationship is the scale. These four business and selling categories together were almost as large a share of the price as reported builder profit. These categories are not proof that a buyer is being cheated. They show that a finished house is also a financed, managed, marketed, and sold product. Now we reach the category people usually suspect first: builder profit. Average builder profit in the survey was $72,971, or 11% of the final sales price. The report describes it as profit before taxes. That does not automatically make it the net corporate margin left after every possible company-level expense and tax. It is the profit category reported in this particular cost breakdown. Profit matters, but it is not the whole explanation for the gap. Even if all reported profit vanished, the buyer would still be paying for the finished lot, financing, overhead, marketing, and sales commission. So the $237,083 outside direct construction was not one giant profit check. Profit was one slice of a much larger map. There is one more reason housing prices often appear to contradict one another. The surveyed builders reported an average sales price of $665,298, but according to the United States Census Bureau and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the median price of new houses sold in June 2026 was $398,300, while the average was $475,400. Those figures are not three competing answers to the same question. The $665,298 figure comes from a small surveyed group of builders and is useful here because it includes a detailed cost breakdown. The census figures come from a much larger national program designed to measure the market. And median is not the same as average. The median is the middle sale. Half of the recorded sales are above it and half are below it. The average adds all sale prices and divides by the number of sales. So a smaller number of very expensive homes can pull it upward. In that June release, the average was $77,100 higher than the median. That difference is a warning against hearing the word average and assuming it describes the price in the middle of the market. Before comparing two housing statistics, check the source, the homes being measured, the time period, and whether the number is a median or an average. Now the complete survey price can be assembled. Direct construction, 64.4%. The finished lot, 13.7%. Financing, overhead, marketing, and commission, 10.8%. Pre-tax builder profit, 11%. The published shares total, 99.9% because of rounding. That is what the $665,298 price tag contained in this surveyed builder sample. The $428,215 construction figure measured the labor, materials, subcontractors, and stages required to build the physical structure. The remaining amount included the finished lot, the financing and organization needed to complete the project, the cost of selling it, and profit for the company taking the risk. And even that is not the full cost of owning the home. The builder's sale price table stops when the house is sold. The buyer's mortgage interest, property taxes, homeowner's insurance, maintenance, and future repairs live outside this breakdown. So the next time a home's sale price is compared with a much lower construction estimate, ask one question before deciding that the difference is a mystery. What exactly does each number include? Because the price of a new house is not just the price of the building. It is the price of the entire system required to put that building on that finished lot into a buyer's hands.